Are you alright? Oh, sorry, I didn't warn you about the logs. Thought you'd figure it out by yourself.
Shut the f. If there's one good thing that Epic Games gave us, it's their weekly free games, and if you didn't already know about that, you're welcome. It has, however, created a backlog of games that at some point I'm gonna feel obligated to sit down and play, and honestly, it's kind of terrifying looking at it. I mean, I've probably only played about 5 of these games, with the rest looming over me, taunting me with hours of incredibly fun or beyond stupid and boring gameplay. One of these games that falls into the former category is Metro. Metro is a series based on a book. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic Eastern Europe, maybe Russia? I don't know, where the surface has been entirely eradicated, forcing human survivors to flee into the metro tunnels, hence the name. In these subterranean areas, societies and groups are formed. Political groups, scavengers, military organizations, and Nazis, I guess. There are also mutated creatures that you will find both on the surface and in parts of the metro, and will be forced to fight off with weapons that you collect. You obtain these weapons either off of the bodies of people you find, or by purchasing them when you enter what could only loosely be called civilization. But enough preamble. This game stood out to me for a few reasons, but by far the central reason was the immersion. This game and the series as a whole does a great job at immersing you in the game through a variety of ways, one of which being the atmosphere. And it does this brilliant job at selling the post-apocalyptic feel of the environments you're in through the ambience and even the music. It also sells this feeling of immersion through how you interact with the world. Now, this might be a controversial take, I admit, but I really like it when interaction with the world is done through fluid animation. I think too often things like UI get in the way of immersing yourself in a game, and games that do their best to avoid that break in immersion end up feeling a lot smoother. Take Sea of Thieves, for example.
Oh my.
I'm trying to grab him, Britt. He's
What you
slippery.
trying to grab him for?
He's a slippery
That's
bastard.
kind of weird. Don't ever say that.
Oh, he touched me.
Aside from the menu wheel, which you can avoid with keybinds, most of your gameplay is devoid of menus. They still exist, but they're not frequent. Instead, most of the things that you do, you can actually see your character doing, such as steering their ship, pulling rope, or raising anchor. And this just adds to the feeling of actually being in the world, and is something I see a lot of in Metro. There are also times where immersion is less than ideal. No. I don't. No.
So how do you like the dance, Daragoy?
I didn't.
What can I do for you, young man? Are you mute or what? No business with me, please.
I think my love for this type of immersion comes from my time in VR, something that I used to play an absurd amount of, and after playing so much, it's weird to come back to regular video games and not feel the same sense of immersion as actually being in the game.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I guess this would make for good content. But no, it's fine. I'm gonna go back.
I like to see myself reloading guns. I like to see myself scavenging through boxes and physically looting bodies. I don't want to look at a door and press a button and just have it magically open up for me. I want to put my weight into that thing. And see, this is what I think Metro does so well. Whether it's cranking the battery on your flashlight so you aren't swarmed with bugs, putting your gas mask on, or replacing the filters, opening doors, pulling levers, turning out lights, fiddling with guns, the list goes on. But all of these things, all the ways in which Artyom interacts with the world are all done in a way that feels so natural and immersive, and also doesn't usually take away from player agency, or at least they don't take away from it any more than a linear shooter already does. Another thing I find is that I don't often take time to complain about the games that I review, so if you haven't already, grab a seat. Aside from what I've already talked about, the other mechanics in this game are pretty dull, if not outrageously hilarious. The stealth is laughable. I can be standing directly in front of a guy in what is clearly visible light, and he won't see me because I don't have the sun beaming light directly on my ass. And I know this isn't a Metro thing, but game devs do know that silencers don't actually silence a bullet, right? Like, everyone still hears it, they just might not know where it came from. And ultimately, the aspect of this game that aged the worst is its linear style. And I feel like you hardly see games like this anymore, games where every single playthrough is the same room after another. Looking back at them now, there is a distinct lack of freedom. The only thing that you could really choose is whether you went in guns blazing or not, and compare that to a similar kill or not to kill game like Dishonored. It's day and night, with hidden secrets to be found in one, and maybe one type of collectible in the other. But I don't see this lack of freedom as a bad thing, just a sign of its time, and honestly, sometimes it's nice to not have to worry about getting 100% of X item, instead opting to just enjoy the story as it unfolds around you. Well, that's all I have to say about Metro. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe consider checking out another one of my videos. And with that, do have a great rest of your day, or night, I don't know what time it is for you, and I'll see you in the next one.